Don't drink, don't smoke, don't chew, don't hang out with girls that do, which I don't know, maybe I didn't know a whole lot of girls that chew, but if they did, we probably weren't hanging out. All right, and sorry, right? And don't have sex. No, really, don't have sex. Right? That was and what we thought is, if we broke one of those rules, God was somehow just going to smite us, right? You know, if you break one of the 6 ultimate commandments, which are higher than the actual 10 commandments, the 6 ultimate commandments of not smoking, not chewing, not drinking, not having sex, and not hanging out with other people that are doing those things, if you broke one of those, God was going to sever his relationship with you, right? That if there was anything that happened, he was just going to kick you out, and he was just waiting. He was waiting for you just to smite you, you know? Just anything that he could do, he's up there, and he's got his red lights ready, man. He probably already has them flashes because he knows you're going to do something stupid. And he's just waiting for that moment. And we said, man, if we, and there's always consequences to these actions. My parents always taught me that, you know, every action, there's a consequence, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But we take that and we project it up on God. So, you know, if we break any of these commandments, he's going to sever his relationship. If we drink, he's probably going to send something on us. If we smoke, he's going to give us cancer. If we don't watch any R-rated movies, the consequence of that is you have, a really boring life. I don't know, right? And so he has all this stuff, that he has all these consequences that he's throwing down at us if we make one move the wrong way. If we do one thing that's not exactly the way it was prescribed to be, he's going to take us out. And what happens is then we get angry with that God. And we start challenging that God. And we start shaking our fist at him. You know, if this is the best, we got a clip that I think it kind of explains the way we look at him.
There she blows.
Again. Hit him again.
God's sake, Chris. The whole world is watching. We can't let him die in front of a live audience.
He was born in front of a live audience.
For those of you not familiar, that's The Truman Show. It's a movie about a show about Truman. And he, it's a very descriptive title. He doesn't realize that he's in a movie or he's in a TV show for a long time, and eventually he figures out that life isn't right, and he tries to escape. And the guy that's watching is the director, and he can cause all this weather. And what happens is anything that Truman does that isn't exactly the way the director wants it, right? They punish him. He falls in love with another girl that he's not supposed to fall in love with, so they kidnap her and tell her they're heading off to Bali or something, right? They're going to Tahiti. Yeah, where is it? Fiji. Thank you. Good job. Fiji. All right, and so which is very similar to over there. I can't believe you know that. Man, it's so good to have a personal encyclopedia right up there. You probably Google it. He's up there going, I've got it. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. Right? So he's going to Fiji. And everything that happens, they slowly, they move and they direct his life. And anytime he makes a choice that's not in the exact will of exactly what the director wants, something bad happens. So finally, when he tries to escape, he gets on a boat. And they've made him scared of water. They made him scared of a boat because they made his dad die. It's a whole, and they're just anything they can do. And finally, he makes it back and everyone's screaming, yelling. He gets up on the boat and he turns and he looks to the sky. And there's no religion in the Truman Show, by the way. You never see him go to church. They never talk about God. But there's just this innate sense that anything bad that happens to us has to come from some sort of higher power. And he's in this boat and he ties himself in and he looks up and he just screams out of God, is that the best you can do? And he's angry. And what happens is when we have this view of God that he's just sitting there waiting for us, and every time we mess up, he tries to smite us, it makes us angry with him. Makes us frustrated that he would put us in these sort of positions. Why? You know, we sing the song as kids, and you guys have heard me sing it. Do you guys remember the song? Careful little eyes, what you see. Remember that? Sing with. Careful little eyes, what you see. Right. For the Father up above, he is looking down to punch you in the face. Right. That's what we meant. Right? Now, the actual line there is, oh, the Father up above, he is looking down in love. But what we mean when we sing that song is, be careful what you look at, little eyes, because if God sees you looking at something bad, he is going to send you out on a boat and drown you, right? That's what we hear. We said love, but we meant fear God, right? Be angry with him, right? And be careful where you go, and be careful what you see, and be careful what you do, not because God loves you and wants what's best for you, but because God, if he sees you doing something stupid, is going to strike you with lightning. And he's got this list of all the stuff that you've done wrong, and he's watching because he knows that he's probably already written down future punishments because he knows you're going to do something stupid again. And we start to fear who God is. Now, we talked about a little bit in the first week of this series, a healthy fear of God, a healthy awe of God, a God who is powerful, and a God who is wonderful, and a God who is loving, and a God who created the Grand Canyon, and that fear is good. But the fact of the matter is the type of fear that we're talking about today is not a healthy fear. And the Bible goes as far as to tell us that, so we have come to know God and believe in the love that God has for us. God is love. And whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. By this love, which is perfected in us, so that we may have confidence for the day of judgment, because he is also, as we are in this world, here it says, for there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment. And whoever fears has not been perfected in love, and we love him because he loved us first. It says, listen, if you're scared of God, and it's this unhealthy fear of who he is, then you don't understand the love that he has. Now, I told you guys that my mom and dad, they did punish me. I was punished as a child. They had to get creative because I would do stupid creative things, and so they would come up with creative punishments. Sometimes it was just beating me until I always joke that they at night they wanted to give me my nightly pill and my nightly spanking. Like that's just the way it worked to keep Aaron calm. That's what you had to do, right? But there was never, while I wasn't exceptionally excited about the fact that I was going to get punished, there was never a crippling fear in my life because I knew my parents loved me. And I knew that any time they actually punished me, they weren't doing it because they got joy out of it. Although I thought that like the dumbest phrase ever as a parent is, this hurts me more than it hurts you. Did anybody actually believe that? Like I want to be like, if it hurts the person doing it more than it hurts the person receiving it, let's trade spots. That way I'm punished. I'll beat you and we'll see how much it hurts. Oh, Mom, you're right. I'm so sorry. I never should have done that. Right? No, that doesn't work. Right? But it wasn't the sense of fear that I was so scared of my parents that I couldn't go to them when I had problems. I couldn't go to them because I knew that my parents loved me. And it says if you really love somebody, perfect love drives out all fear. This helped me recognize the problem with a lot of my relationships until I met Shara. Because in my relationships, I was always scared to show who I really was because I thought once they saw who I really was, they were going to leave, which is kind of understandable. And my entire relationships were driven by fear. So I would do everything I could to try to salvage the relationship. I would try to pretend like I was a better person than I was. I would buy them elaborate gifts and take them to places they liked, even if I hated it. I would do all this stuff, not because I loved them or because they loved me, because I was scared they were going to leave me. And finally, when I interacted with Sharon and we became engaged and moving into marriage, I realized that she wasn't going to leave me. hope. She's not gonna. No, man, I know. Why? Because we actually love each other. And while we may occasionally have discussions, so married people they have discussions. We don't fight. We have discussions. While we may occasionally have those, and there may be occasionally times that I do things wrong and times that she has to point that out, I know she's not going to leave. And I know that if she points it out, it's because she actually wants what's best for me. And so when we view this God as a God who's just trying to smite us and is just angry with us and is just trying to mess with us, we get scared of him. And not a healthy fear of, oh, he's big, but a fear of, oh, what am I going to do today that disappoints him? And what happens is then, when we have a God like that, we try to hide, right? We try to hide who we are. Now, we talk about him being all-knowing and all-powerful and all whatever, but we don't actually believe that. At least we don't act like we believe that because we think we can hide stuff from it, right? We see it in the Genesis chapter 3. This is when sin enters the world, right? And so they've got this perfect condition. They have the only perfect marriage ever, and it doesn't last very long. It's perfect for the first chapter and a half. And so, right, it says they sinned, right? They've eaten the apple. God says, listen, don't eat the apple. They say, well, the apple looks pretty good. Let's give it a shot. They eat the apple. God shows up, and they freak out. And it says, they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord. They went among the trees of the garden, and the Lord called out. This is Yahweh. It's actually using the proper name of God here. Calls out and says to him, where are you? And this is the response. I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. And by naked, they mean OCU appropriate dress. He had sweats on. All right, and so I hid myself. And so what happens is, now he knows this is the God that has created everything. This is the God that comes down and walks with him occasionally because he wants to, not because he has to. This is the God that knows everything, has created everything, has made everything, and he hides. And it's, have you ever played hide and go seek with a little kid? Like you ever do like real little ones that haven't quite figured out the rules yet? Like they know that they're supposed to hide, and they make the assumption that if they can't see you, right, you can't see them, right? So they'll go hide, and like they'll put like a hat really low in their head, you know, and it'll be like right here, and then they'll sit in the middle of the floor. Yeah, dude, this is the best spot ever. I can't see a thing, you know. And you're like, and then of course we play along, you know. Oh, where's he at? I can't find him. You know, I want to. And then you like trip over him, like, what was that? Oh, you're so good, you know. And they're all excited. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, you know. And then they go they sit on the bed and they wrap their head in a towel. You know, it's like this is better than the last one. It's so dark in here, you know. Where are they at? You know, they have no clue. I learned in Dr. McDonald's class today. The reason is they can't see things from my perspective, right? Isn't that right? And thank you very much, Dr. McDonald, for teaching me that this week. It fit into the sermon, right? We can't see things from somebody else's perspective. She said it's because we lack the cognitive ability. I think that's a doctor's way of saying you're dumb. You can say that there's other things, but right? We're stupid humans. All of us are, right? And we can't see things from God's perspective, so we assume we can hide from him. And so when something bad happens, when we do something bad, we're scared because we don't think he loves us. We think he's trying to smite us. We think he's looking down with these eyes, ready to burn a hole through our skull if we do something wrong. And when we sin, we try to hide it from God. And the best way to hide it from God is to hide it from everybody else. So we have all these deep, dark things inside of us, and we just sort of layer. Can't let anybody know about that. And then we all walk around with these layers, not letting anyone get too close, because if they get close, they're going to know there's something wrong with me. And if they know, God's going to know. And if God knows, I'm not going to be his favorite anymore, and he's going to do bad stuff to me, right? Isn't that what we do as kids when your brother and sister does something stupid? You want to tell on them so you can still be the favorite? That's what I did. I didn't last as a favorite long. It happened until about 3 days after Heather's birth. I'd lost my place. But we hide from God thinking that he can't see us. Thinking that if we can put this stuff deep back in the darkness and we close our eyes, he's not going to know what's going on. And when we view God as this vindictive cop, waiting around the corner, trying to fill his quota, we're scared of him, We run from him. And we hide everything we can from him. And what happens is we start to split who we are. We have private life Aaron and public life Aaron. Right? Private life Aaron does what he wants to do. Public life Aaron is perfect. Now, anyone that's actually met public life Aaron knows that he is not perfect. Right? But we start to split who we are. And my fear is that we as Christians get really good at doing this. See, because private life, Christian, God can't see that stuff. No one else can see it. We close our eyes. God can't see it. Public life Christian, we keep coming to church and we keep doing what we do and we sing and we praise and we talk to everybody. We put on a smile because everything is just fine. And until we change our view of God, until we stop saturating ourselves with that view of God, it's never going to change. Because I've told you this over and over and over and over and over again, right? Belief drives action. What we believe about God, the things we think about, the stuff that we saturate in our minds drives who we are. You know, okay, we're going to try something. I've never tried this one with a large group of people, so we're going to see how it works. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you what was supposed to happen. All right. You're going to spell the word most, right? Real quick, everyone spell that for me. 1, 2, 3. That was good. Okay, we all know how to spell. All right, we're going to spell the word most 5 times as fast as we can. I'm going to say 3, and you're all going to say it, and then I'm going to ask a question. You're all going to answer at the same time, okay? So ready? We're going to spell it most 5 times. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, what do you put in a toaster? No, you put bread in a toaster. Toast comes out. Yeah, Jedi mind tricks, right? Yeah. This is not the answer you're looking for, right? Let's be honest, how many of you guys either said or thought toast? We're all friends here. About 95% of us, the rest of us are apparently stronger Jedis than me, right? Right? That's what we do, right? And everyone knows that, right? We all know. How many of you toast bread, take it out, and put it back in the toaster? Unless you like it really black, nobody does that. Right? There's a few of us that prefer it to be a little darker, but the rest of us, no, nobody puts toast in a toaster. Toast comes out of a toaster. So what happened? You were thinking about a certain thing, and that thing that you were thinking about drove the way you acted. And there's hundreds of ways we can do this. This is what advertisement is built on this. If we can get this idea in my head, the grocery stores are designed around the fact that when you walk into the store and you see that thing that you've always wanted and always needed, and you didn't even know it existed until right now. I'll take 2, please. Right? There's a reason that all the stupid toys and the gum and the candy's at the end, because all the parents can't leave because they got stuff in their carts and the kids whine until the parent just buys something. Right? What we put into our head, the stuff that we think about, the stuff that we believe drives how we act. And when we believe bad stuff about God, it drives the way we act. Sometimes I'll have students come to me and they'll say, I don't believe in God anymore. I'll say, okay, what does that mean? I don't know exactly. Explain to me what you mean when you say it. So we'll talk a little bit. And I'll say, well, and they'll start talking about this God that is a lot of the stuff that we've talked about so far this time through. And when they get to the end of explaining, I'll look at them and say, you know what? I don't believe in that God either. And so until we start to reshape our view of God, we're going to keep acting in ways, and we're going to keep holding on to stuff that we were never meant to hold on to. And so what these are the issues when we have bad views of God. First thing is, it allows us to judge others based on, right? Here's what we do. We talk about this with the favorites, right? If God is that cop, right? If we snitch on somebody else, we get a lesser sentence, right? This is what CSI and Law and Order has taught us, right? As this is our generation. I've learned that if I get caught, I immediately need to know something about someone else that's more important than me, right? And we can make stuff up. Dude, the guy, my neighbor's dealing heroin. Is he really? Well, I'm not sure, but you should check it out, right? Anything, right? Right? And what happens is we start, when God is this cop and this law that's gonna, right? We start to look at everyone else and see the places where they're breaking the law. We do this when we're speeding, right? You always have to have a rabbit when you're speeding. Are you familiar with the idea of a rabbit? If you watch Greyhound races, the rabbit, right? Do you guys drive? Do you look for a rabbit that's going just a little faster than you, right? And yeah, well, I found out that actually doesn't work because when I was in Dayton coming back, they pulled over both of us, which I felt was completely unfair, and a bit of profiling because they were pulling over anyone that was going over 90 on that road. And so It's a long story, I don't want to talk about it, right? And so we start to look how everyone else, they're going faster, I should be fine. And so when we view God as this judge, as this cop who's trying to nail us for what we're doing, we think if somebody else is worse than us, he's going to hit them first. So if they get hit, then I should probably stop doing what I'm doing. And so it allows us to judge other people based on their performance. And this isn't the way God wants to work. Second thing does, we try to hide our sin. Shoved everything under the bed to clean my room. Mom didn't look. My mom always looked. I really thought, I moved to the closet. I thought that would work better. And so what my mom would do when I left is she would literally go under my bed, take all the stuff, go in the closet, take all the stuff, and throw it in the middle of the floor. And then she would hide all of the power cords so I couldn't do anything electronically until that stuff was put away. She always knew. My mom might be omniscient. She's at least psychic. And so what happens is, when we view God as this cop, we try to hide from him. This is what Adam and Eve did. And we start to put this stuff deep down inside of us, where it just festers, and it grows, and it mutates, and it starts to affect the rest of our lives. Last thing we do, it makes God an object of fear. Maybe if God's not a cop, he's a clown. They're all scared. I don't know if you can see the theme here. Clowns are not for children. Right? It makes God an object of our fear. You can open up now, Dr. McDonald. Who remembers everything. Right? We have this perfect God who's the perfect cop who remembers everything we've ever done. And is just waiting for us to screw up again so he can bring it up. And we walk around with this guilt and with this shame and with this fear. And if we're going to move into a positive view of God, we have one more bad view and then we've got 4 good views. If we're going to move into a positive view of God, we've got to get rid of that stuff. We've got to stop hiding from him. We've got to stop fearing him. And we've got to stop harboring that guilt of things that he has already forgiven. And until we get rid of this cop around the corner God, we're never going to be able to do that. I want everyone to grab their ticket. Hopefully everyone got a ticket. If you didn't get a ticket, we'll have a couple extras up here when you come up. If you have a pen, I don't know if you have a pen. If you don't have a pen, I have pens up here when you walk up. But here's what we're going to do. For those of you that maybe don't have pens, he has a couple in the back. I want you to start thinking about some stuff in your life. Here's the 3 things I want you to think about. 1, are there things in your life that you are still trying to hide from God? Right? And whatever you just tried to forget about, that's the thing, all right? That's it. The thing that you just went, oh, he doesn't want to know about that. And I want you to write it down on the ticket. Now, if you don't want anyone else to see it, I understand. This is a private moment. Don't worry about everybody else. Maybe spread out if you're too close. And I want you to write on that ticket, whatever that thing is. You don't have to write the exact thing. If it's a code and you don't want everyone else to know, John Wesley actually wrote his sins in code in his journal so that anyone that read it would know what was going on. That's fine. You can write, dash, dot, dash. I don't know what that is, but anything you want. Start writing down stuff what is it that if God wasn't a cop ready to smite you, you would bring to him and say, look, I'm sorry. Can you help me with this? Can you fix this? Can you please forgive me for this? So what's the stuff you're hiding for God? Second thing, what's some stuff that God's already forgiven you for that you've got to forgive yourself for? Just what stuff in your life that you've apologized, you've confessed, you said, God, I'm sorry, this isn't what I meant to do, and that stuff that when you lay in bed at night, it keeps you awake going, God, did you really forget? Did you really let it go? Did you really erase it? Is it really gone? Look, it's gone. God isn't a cop keeping a ledger, hoping that he can send you to hell. God's a loving Father that wants to transform your life and wants what's best for you. So you're going to write that stuff that just, you got to let go of. And I know that one moment doesn't always take care of that, but at least stuff that you're ready to start the process on. And the last thing I want you to write down, and we're all going to write the same thing down here. 2 things, actually. Fear and shame. Because that moment that we see those lights in the mirror, those are the first two things. We know we screwed up. Hopefully your wife isn't in the car with you. If she is, you feel even worse. Because she told you to slow down 15 minutes ago and you didn't listen. Not that that's happened in our house. And you feel the shame. And God says, man, I don't want you to feel shame. I want you to know that you did something wrong. I want you to be convicted with what you did. But when you embrace a loving God who's not trying to smite you, who's not trying to destroy you, we're not about shame and fear. While we need to be in awe of God, and I recognize the Old Testament says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and they're right, it is. It's not an unhealthy fear. It's not a fear that causes us to hide. It's not a fear that causes us to run. It's not a fear that we can't bring ourselves to Him because we don't know what He's going to think about us. We want to get rid of the types of fear of God that stops our relationships with Him. We serve a loving God. We serve a God that wants to transform your life. And He says that perfect love drives out fear. Susan, I'm going to pray, and if you would, as you hold your ticket, you pray. And when I get done praying, I'm going to ask you guys to bring them up. And you can rip it up, you can crumple it up, you can fold it. I want you to put it down in this fire pit type thing. And we are going to have a little barbecue. We're going to say, God, we've got to transform our view of you. Maybe after you put it in, if you want to pray and pray in a sense of thanking God. This isn't a coming and saying, God, this is a God, I thank you for what you've done in my life today. I thank you for forgiving me of those things. I thank you for not keeping record. I thank you for being a loving God and not a spiteful cop around the corner just trying to get me. And so after you throw it in, if you want to pray for a few minutes, that's fine. God, thank you so much for being here. Lord, man, we've messed up who you are so many times. And you don't want us to run from you. You don't want us to hide from you. You want us to be in right relationship with you. And to do that, we've got to get rid of that unhealthy fear. We have to appreciate who you are and love who you are and know that you're not trying to remember all this bad stuff about us. You say that when we come to you and you forgive us, you have tossed it into the sea of forgiveness. It is as far as the east is from the west. That our sin doesn't touch your memory anymore. And you move forward. So God, there's some stuff that maybe you've forgiven us with that we haven't even forgiven ourselves for. Why would we be tougher on ourselves than you are, God? And so God, if you would just move that stuff out, help us begin the process of healing, of getting over those things that we've done. And God, maybe there's some stuff that we've kept hidden and we need to bring it to you. The first step in us confessing it is just bringing it to you and saying, God, I need to take care of this and I'm sorry. And God, would you take away our fear? Shame and fill us with peace and joy and love. In your Son's precious and holy name I pray.